Hello, it's Matty F Baby here with some Rainbow Cup action for you. Real quickly, the Rainbow Cup is the next tournament. It's for June. It's gonna be electric, fire, water, grass, and bug type. What? I just named a whole handful of types. Yes, 5 types. Couple of stipulations. Only Kanto and Johto Pokemon are gonna be allowed in this cup, and yeah, that's gonna mean no Alolan versions. Alright, it's only Gen 1 and Gen 2. Do not bring those Gen 7 Alolan Raichus. You can't have them. They're not allowed. Also, welcome back, legendary Pokemon. If you got a legendary Pokemon you want to bring, like a Celebi or a Raikou, go ahead and bring them to the show. So let's talk about Beedrill real quick. That's what we're doing today. I love bug Pokemon. It's like my 3rd favorite type, behind Steel is obviously number 1. So I want to start with him. So Beedrill's preferred moveset is going to be, first, it's poison and bug type. It's going to be vulnerable to fire, flying, rock, and psychic. Okay, so keep that in mind. And its preferred moveset is going to be poison jab. It does get a little less energy than infestation bug, but it's going to hit the meta in general for less resisted damage than a bug move would. You know what I'm saying? It's going to do better against the Pokemon available in general. So the preferred charge moveset is going to be X Scissor, which is only 35 energy cost, and then it's going to be Sludge Bomb. So that's the preferred moveset for Beedrill. So let's go look and see how it does against this meta for the Rainbow Cup. So I made these. I made this right here. Look, I'm in the top corner now. Anyways, so this is the first little bit of Pokemon, and the way this graph is going to work, let's look at Fortress. So you see I have Beedrill with an arrow going to Fortress. It says 2-0. When you see the numbers, Beedrill's number of shields used is always going to be the first one listed, and its opponent's is always going to be the second one. So you can see it says 2-0 to Fortress. Now you see there's no other numbers coming from Fortress to Beedrill. That's because we're just going to assume that it wins, or that Fortress wins the rest of those matchups. So as you see, let's look at Fortress to start. Beedrill is going to win with 2 shields and Fortress using 0. Fortress is going to win every other shielding scenario. 0-0, 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, all that jazzy goodness. So, you know, if you see a Fortress, you're not really going to want to stay in that fight with the Beedrill. It's Steel type, so it has an immunity tier resistance to poison moves. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it's going to work. And this is also starting with 100% HP and 0 energy gain. So both Pokemon for this discussion are going to be starting with a level playing field, and they're also going to have just level IVs, just the same equal amount of IVs. So there you go. You're going to see Fortress as a Beedrill. You're going to think, I don't want no part of that. It's going to resist my bug and my poison moves. So that's why Fortress is going to be so good. And Fortress has Earthquake, so Earthquake is going to wreck shop for us as a poison type. Next, let's go down to the number 1 hitter, the Lucario of Kingdom Cup, the like Skuntank, Toxicroak of Twilight Cup. You know what I'm talking about, those like MVPs of tournaments. And the things that you're going to need, the Pokemon you're going to need to be prepared for pretty much every round. So you see Charizard down there. So Beedrill is going to win with 1 shield to 0 or with 2 shields to 0, and Charizard is going to win every other scenario. So that's another situation where we don't want no part of that, Ricky Bobby, you know, Dewey. We don't want no part of that, Dewey Cox. So next, let's go over here and let's look at Quagsire. Quaggy boy, he does have that Earthquake, so that's something that we have to watch out for, something that we do not want to see. And also has Mudshot, so we're going to be taking super effective fast move hits from the Quagsire. So if you see the Quagsire, unless you're at the 2-0 to shields at the end of a match, 2-1 at the end of a match with shielding scenario, you don't want no part of Quagsire. It's just going to wreck our shop. But here's the point where we go and wreck shop ourselves. So as you see, there's an arrow pointing from Venusaur over to Beedrill, and Venusaur is going to win when it has 2 shields and Beedrill has 0. And now we're going to go ahead and take the cake for the rest of them. I'm just going to get through all these grassy boys because these are some grass boys that are in the top 10 for this tournament, overall ranked. So let's look at the Meganium. It's the same scenario as a Beedrill, or as the Venusaur. So when Meganium has 2 shields and Beedrill has 0, then we're not going to be in a good, or then we're going to be in a great, we're not going to be in a great spot. But every other situation, we're going to go ahead and wreck that Meganium. We're going to sit there and just fire off on those X scissors, because you know these grass Pokemon, especially one that doesn't have a dual typing with poison, is going to really not want to see those bug type moves like Furry Cutter. So be careful of the Earthquake. Hopefully it won't even get there, because you know you'll be hitting it with like 2 X scissors by the time it gets to Earthquake. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wreck shop against the Meganium. And let's look at Ivysaur. You see I had the 2-sided arrow with Ivysaur. Beedrill wins every situation against Ivysaur, except when Ivysaur has 2 shields. That's when it's going to be a simultaneous knockout. Obviously, whichever Pokemon has a better IV spread is going to end up winning that just by a very, very small smidgen. But it just wrecks the grass boys unless they have 2 shields to R0. Next, let's go ahead and look at Azumarill. Azumarill is the same thing. Azumarill needs 2 shields to beat a Beedrill. We're going to try to shield bait with the Fury Cutter, hopefully, and we want to hit it with the poison, with the Sludge Bomb. So as a fairy type, it does not want to eat our fast moves of Poison Jab, and it definitely doesn't want to eat our Sludge Bomb. So we do need to be careful of Ice Beam, but we're going to go ahead and get to a Sludge Bomb before it gets to an Ice Beam, and that's going to be the bottom line. So yeah, be wary if you have a shield and you see a move coming from a Azumarill. We can tank 1 Ice Beam at like full health, or pretty much full health, but we don't want to sit there, and we don't want to, do we? Yeah, we don't want to tank Ice Beam. So next, let's go look at a couple electric boys. We'll start down at the bottom right, because that's like the big hitter for electric boys. If you guys have not got your Raichu set up, even if it doesn't have Thundershock, just go ahead and get you a Spark one. This Raichu that we're facing has the Legacy Thundershock with Thunder Punch and Wild Charge, so keep that in mind. We are going to do a little bit better against a Spark Raichu, so do keep that in mind, that this is against the Legacy OP super fast charging fast move Thundershock. So you can see 1-0 and 2-1 shield scenarios, we win that, Mr. Beedrill. But if we are down 0-1, 1-1, or 1-2, Raichu is gonna do some work against us, and Raichu doesn't really want to feel our X Scissor or our Sludge Bomb. I've hit the Raichu with both of them, and it does some good damage, so don't think you can't throw an X Scissor at it, because it is going to hurt. And as you see down below, at 0-0 and 2-2, both the even shielding scenarios besides 1-1, we're going to go ahead and take out that Raichu. Oh no, sorry, we're going to go ahead and split with that Raichu. We're both going to be knocked down simultaneously. So now we go down to the bottom left. We have the Raikou. We have 0-1 and 0-2. And yeah, that's when Raikou is going to beat us. So we do really well against the Raikou. There's only 2 scenarios where it beats us. We have to have no shields and has to have at least 1 shield for the Raikou to take us down. And then as you see, we also simultaneously KO if we're at a 1-1. You know, whoever would end up having slightly better IVs is who would probably come out of that fight. Next at the top right, this is that thick whale shampoo boy. Yeah, I love Lantern. I personally have it set as a Charge Beam Lantern, so keep that in mind. I know that's not the preferred moveset, but I like Charge Beam Lantern. I like the idea of possibly even running it with a Azumarill at times and having like a Charizard or something. A Charizard there to also to protect it from grass types, the Azumarill and the Azumarill and the Lantern, but you just have to be wary because an electric type can come and knock you out. You got to know how to play that, and there is a way to play it, but it takes some practice. So keep that in mind if you do want to try the double thick water boy strat. Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Water sucks. It really does not suck. I like the water boy strat. It's definitely not foolproof. It definitely can easily be countered by that Raichu, but if they don't know you're running the double water strat, and we'll talk about that more later, then if you get their Raichu down, then you're usually in good position. But as you can see, that there's 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, and 2-2. I'm not even going to say the rest of this situation. There's so many shields that if you want to learn shield scenarios for Beedrill versus Lantern, if you want to learn them, me just saying them all right now is not gonna teach them to you. You got to do the practice, and you also would just have to stare at this yourself. Like, just stare at it and try to remember. But me saying it one time real quick, that's not gonna embed that in your brain, because there's so many shield scenarios right there. So here we go against some Fire Boys, and it's not as bad as I thought. it would be because we do okay against Typhlosion, but as you can see, Ninetales wrecks us, except for when we have 1 shield to 0 or 2 shield to 0. If the Ninetales is shieldless and we have some shields, then it's usually going to be a simultaneous knockout. It's kind of crazy that even when 2 to 0 and 1 to 0, they're both simultaneous, but that's because the fire or the fast moves are just going to down us either way, no matter if we have 1 or 2 shields. So that's a really bad scenario, especially if it's got like Psyshock and Flamethrower. And this was against a Legacy Ninetales with the Psyshock and Flamethrower. We don't want to see either of those moves, so keep that in mind. Against a regular Ninetales, we might do a little better, but not really, because it really downs us on the fast moves. Yeah, the fast moves really rock us. Mad Cargo, it just rocks us with that rock throw. We want no part of it. It's going to eat all our moves for lunch. It's whatever. And then down here, we're fighting against a Shadow Claw, Blast Burn, Solar Beam, Typhlosion, and we do pretty well against it. You know, we got the 1 to 0 for Beedrill, the 0 to 1, the 2 to 2. You know, basically, when we don't have a shield, or when we only have the 1 shield and they have 2, is when we can't beat the Typhlosion. Typhlosion is the best closer, where Typhlosion excels when it has 1 shield and opponents have 0 shields, because Shadow Claw gets into Blast Burn so fast that it can just do work. It'll just rock a lot of Pokemon. So keep that in mind. If you're fighting a Typhlosion and they have 1 shield and you don't, you're probably in a bad position with most Pokemon. Not all, but with most. So last but not least, let's go look at a couple more water types. We have talked about some water types along the way, but had to throw these last 2 in here. Kingdra with that Dragon Breath. I really like the Dragon Breath Kingdra, because as a dual typing of water and dragon, the stuff that it used to be super effective to it as a water type, which is the grass and electric, those moves are now going to be neutral because the dragon typing resists it. So that's what's so cool about Kingdra for this cup as a water type, is that it is only neutral damage from the electric and from the grass type. So as you can see, the 0 to the 1 and 0 to 2, Kingdra is going to win when we have no shields, and it has some shields, but a lot of these matches with Kingdra were very close. So you can see when we have 1 shield and it has 2 shields, and when we have tied for 2 shields each, it's really just going to come down to who has the better IV, but Kingdra does barely squeak out with 1 HP in both those scenarios. They both came down to 1 HP, the 1 to 2 and 2 to 2. So basically when that happens, it's going to be a case of who has better IVs. And then Mantine. Mantine's really fun Pokemon. It has some pretty decent moveset. This one was I think it was an air or sky. No, it was a flying fast move with Ice Beam and then Aerial Ace as the moveset. Is what we had for ours. And you're gonna go ahead and look and see that we win 3 of the scenarios and it wins the rest of them. So not really a great matchup for our Beedrill. So keep that in mind if you want to study the shield scenario. Just go pause that and look at it, because that's a lot for me to say and you won't remember me just saying it right there. But that's how we had this graph. That's how we had these graphs, the infographics. If you want to see them, I'm going to post them all to my Twitter, so you can save them if you would like to save them after I post this video. So yeah, bada boom, bada beepo, there goes the Beedrill. I just want to say thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope that you enjoyed this Rainbow Cup action. I also want to apologize for only getting 2 Nightmare Cup videos out. I've had a very hectic last couple of weeks in Arizona, moving from one house, moving my grandparents from one house in one city to another house in another city. Actually, it's like 7 in the morning right now. We're about to go finish cleaning out that house right now. So thank you guys. Merc is in the description if you'd like to support me and throw me some extra funds to help me out in Chicago. I really appreciate all my Patreon and channel members as well. And I really just appreciate you guys for watching and possibly sharing with a friend. Hope you guys have a nice day. Don't forget, Pogo is life and everything else is just icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're loved and appreciated. I know I feel that way. Be easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girls. Peace out.